Ignoring the fact that there's a weird smudge on my table, god dang it. We have more combatants joining the war. So once Libya joins the war, we obviously have North Sudan join the war, which is actually just Sudan. With this, we see South Sudan joining in. We also have Djibouti joining in on the blue side, and Ethiopia warns the red team that if any more surrounding countries join, they will join the blue team. We also have Burundi declaring war on the red team because why not? And Lesotho, Lesotho, yeah. Joining in on the war with blue team, we have I think there's Swaziland joining in on the red side. So Mozambique decided to declare war on Swaziland. And with that, we see their allies joining in with them. This being Namibia, Botswana, and what the frick was this country called? Uh, so I was right about Swaziland at least. Zimbabwe. All right, so yeah, we have Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique join the blue side. And we also have Chile joining the blue side. We have Kenya joining the red side because it doesn't really have any ties to Ethiopia. Ethiopia stays neutral. So now we have another front being opened up for Tunisia, which they're gonna have to worry about. With this, we see the red team ganging up on Tunisia, and Algeria uses a ton of their forces to push them out. Eventually, they recapture their coast and they continue their encirclement push. Eventually, they reach the Tunisian border and they move down to wipe out the rest of the army. Um, Libyan forces cross into Algeria to hand over the next army. And Libya demands a little bit out of Algeria, and they make an agreement that when the war is over and if they win, Algeria will get more of Tunisia. With this, we have Libya also opening a front over in Tunisia with their Algerian comrade as they both push up to hopefully wipe out the country. And then once they capture all its coastline, Israel will no longer have a landing place to go to. And so what they would have to do is that they would have to go through the top of the Mediterranean Sea and get to Morocco, which is a lot harder, or they can go out down into Djibouti and cross through Ethiopia, which would be extremely long and take a lot of resources. Um, Tunisia is still defending themselves desperately, and after being furtherly squeezed into, we have them somehow being able to hold off their coast. With this though, we see but the red team continuing their push into Tunisia, and Tunisia is officially recognized as a power of Africa, as it is being able to hold itself out against two more big African powers. Um, with this, we have Sudan deciding to declare war on Eritrea, despite them being allies, so they can march their troops to Djibouti. Eritrea kind of just lets this happen, and they don't even join the blue side. They sort of just join their own side. So with this, Sudan continues to march through, and they decide, you know what, frick it, let's take lands too. So, once Eritrea realizes that they're taking a bit more than they should, they actually start fighting back. And they even just wonder if they should join in on the blue side. They try to join in, but the rest of the blue team doesn't want Ethiopia joining in on this war because that would mean it's just going to drag out for a lot longer than it really should. It would also get Egypt involved, which would cause a ton of other countries to get involved. So screw it, Eritrea's on their own, but they're blue leaning and getting blue supplies. We have Eritrea trying to push back Sudan, but Sudan is continuing their push down and is able to cut the country into two. And now they're basically done with Eritrea. And once they meet the Djibouti border, it's all over for Djibouti and Eritrea. After we have more pushdowns, we finally get into Djibouti. And now Djibouti fights hard, but they're going to be captured. And I'm pretty sure Djibouti's capital is Djibouti. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure it is. Um, so with this, we're also going to see the fall of Eritrea after being squeezed out navally. And most of them escaping to Saudi Arabia to get back in. And all the soldiers are ordered to escape to Saudi Arabia, use the Persian Gulf to get down and help out the Southern Allies. Speaking of these Southern Allies, we're going to be seeing movement over here, with Mozambique taking over Swaziland. Mozambique enters the country and is able to wipe it out completely. After this happens, Mozambique decides to just annex it because why not? It's free territory. So then we have Mozambique looking quite weird. This looks wrong. Over in the northern front, we can see South Sudan decide to make pushes into um Sudan. That sounds very weird to say. So we have South Sudan making their advancement by using two fronts right here and causing encirclements. Eventually, South Sudan reaches out and is able to get through. Wow. We also have them pushing up from this weird little thing that they have, and I know these borders aren't 100% accurate, but that's because this map was made in 2009. So, and speaking of that, we also need to make Kosovo a thing. There we go. Wasn't really necessary, but I did it. With the South Sudan, as we all know, South Sudan is extremely geared for wars. It's because that's all they were really doing. So we have South Sudan making a massive bulge to try to take um regular Sudan, and they're starting to push up using all of their gear. They encourage civilian and terrorist groups to fight, um, and they even agree for all the groups to get their own little plots of land from Sudan when they're done with it. So eventually, South Sudan is able to cut Sudan into two, and with this we see Sudan withdrawing troops from Eritrea and Djibouti. So with this, Djibouti is completely freed. As partisans are able to take it back. With this, the government is reset up, and these partisans, whilst with the retreating Sudan soldiers, are pushing up to Eritrea. Um, Again, African countries are hard to pronounce. And we have Eritrea basically being freed. So with this, we're seeing a pretty hefty collapse of Sudan, as well as South Sudan approaching on making an encircling movement, and someone's freaking mowing outside. Don't you just love that when people inconvenience you? Oh, it's like freaking 57 degrees outside. Anyways, so over in Tunisia, we still continue to see the holdout as they even start pushing back the Algerian lines and make an advancement into Algeria. So now Tunisia is just somehow still winning this as they also continue to make a push into Libya. They even are focused on capturing the Libyan coast. So now the reason why Tunisia has been able to be a massive power throughout this war is just it's an extreme is because of its massive trade. It can trade with a lot of countries extremely quickly. These countries obviously being Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Turkey, Albania, all the surrounding Balkan countries on the Adriatic Sea, Slovenia, Cyprus, northern Cyprus. They can also trade with Ukraine, Russia, and Romania. Bulgaria as well. They can also continue to trade with Georgia if they would like to. Um, and with trading with Georgia, they can have an easy supply route to Azerbaijan. So yeah, Tunisia's kind of a power. So we see Tunisia being having getting mildly pushed back, but it's not going to last for too long because Tunisia doesn't take anything from everybody, anybody I should say. So Tunisia is able to make a broad front line, is even able to connect their lines to cause a great encirclement of Libya. So now with this shocking turn of events over in Tunisia, we have Morocco finally being able to push Algeria out of itself, connecting with their front line further. With this, we have Morocco going for its main goal, and that's to capture the Algerian coast. With this, it causes two encirclements, and after lots of fighting, they're able to do so. Eventually, they also push down into Algeria using this weird-looking boomerang thing and complete their two encirclements. So this is a very messy front line.